So once you left Crown or decided to leave Crown, like why'd you settle on Bluecoats? Like what made you?
Well, it all revolves around Rhythm X essentially. Like once I got into X, I think that it just propelled my drumming in a different way. Like Crown gave me a lot of fundamentals and made me way better because I was terrible and I didn't think, you just start to realize you're not as good as you thought you were, or like, coming where you're from. And so Crown just kind of, beat me up a little bit, put me in my place, I would say. And then, when you have Jeff Queen playing on your drum perfectly every day, it's kind of like, cool, man. Well, that's awesome. I suck. But no, and it was just a couple of things with that. And then as I marched through the Mex more, I developed a lot of great relationships. And, after 04 Crown, I wasn't really excited about doing drum corps again. It was kind of just like a weird scenario where like there was a staff change that was kind of happening. And I just didn't really know the staff really well. And I wasn't really comfortable going out there. Like, I didn't want to I don't want to say waste a summer, but I didn't want to go out there and like, without getting some experience with them. And
yeah.
So I just decided to kind of take that summer off. And then Josh and some other people have been talking about going out to Bluecoats because Erin Riggleman, who was a Cobra or marched for the Mexican Airline, she was the section leader at Bluecoats. So, and funny enough, in like at 04 Rhythm X, when I auditioned there, it was like disastrous, like I was surrounded by, I think so there were 7 that made it in 04, and 5 of them, I believed, had tapped off their drum course in airlines the previous summer. So it was like 5 incredibly experienced people, and then like Josh, who was really good and trained great, and then me, this like Southern boy from North Carolina who played with way too much arm and, doesn't know anything. My vocabulary was, I would say, still limited at the time. So yeah, we just kind of met Aaron and, conversations just kind of kept going. And it was like the whole Bluecoats hype was kind of coming up with Mike McIntosh. And, and me and Josh were like becoming really good friends at the time. And I was like, man, I think that would be great. So we both kind of last minute were talking about trying to see if we could audition. So we emailed Mike, and he was really, really cool. And he was like, yeah, guys, come out. We're trying to make decisions really soon. And then Josh ended up going out to that camp and like maybe in January or February. It was pretty late at the time.
Yeah.
And then I didn't go. And then Josh gets a contract. And I'm like, oh. So I basically just wrote it off. Like I wasn't going to be able to go now. I can't remember why I didn't go. It was probably something stupid like a girlfriend or just making dumb choices. So
something stupid.
Yeah, something dumb. And I was just like, I'm not going to go. And I don't know. It could have been money too. I'm not really certain at the time. But eventually I joked with Josh and I was like, hey man, let me know if they cut someone and I'll see if I can like audition for the spot or whatever. And he kept giving me like crap about it. He's like, dude, someone's going to quit. And I'm like, no one's going to quit. Like who quits a snare line? Like back in the day, I guess that's not really true. There were people that quit when I was there. Yeah. So anyways, I guess fake news for sure. I definitely say that. And I just vividly had a memory of my first year at Crown with like 2 people literally quitting. Or like getting hurt or something. So anyways, so move-ins comes around, and it's probably the Bluecoats used to do, they kind of still come in a little early, I think, but we used to go to Mike McIntosh's house for like a week or so before move-ins, which was super sweet. It was like cool. Just real fun. We would drum and just, it was pretty chill. And Josh calls me like 3 days before their move-ins, and he was like, Ree, and he'd call me Ree because my drum corps name is Ree. And he was like, I was just like, no. As soon as he said my name, I was like, no. Because I knew immediately what he was going to be saying. And he was like, Ree, you're coming. I'm like, no, I'm not. You're joking. So I thought they were joking for the longest time on this phone. And then all of a sudden, Mike McIntosh gets on the phone. He's like, Jared, what's up? This is Mike McIntosh. I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, yeah, it is. He's like, you want to come play some sweet beats this summer? And I was like, I'll be there in 3 days. And that was it. Like I just showed up and I think it was just kind of meant to be, so it basically just stemmed from friendships and just kind of liking the style that Bluecoats was heading in that direction with Mike's beats. And you just kind of knew at the time that this was something that was kind of cool and different.
The making of like,
yes. Yeah. And with the Rhythm X connection, we knew that we kind of had this thing, maybe we didn't talk about it openly at the beginning, but I feel like we all kind of knew that it would be cool to have this connection there where we could just start funneling in people and like get good dudes to go out there or like people that we know. And then, I don't know, maybe it would carry over to Rhythm X a little bit. And it definitely did. I mean,
it became like what Blue Devils were to RCC.
Yes, which obviously you guys know really well. Like you see that connection. Like even 03 RCC, they had like all the 7 snares were the guys from like Blue Devils 2003. Like I mean, there were more in Blue Devils, but I think all those 7 guys, if I'm not mistaken, were just in Blue Devils together that summer, or going into that summer, which they won a world championship. Like it's just insane. So that's basically how it happened. And then I just kind of got lucky. I got like a phone call. A guy quit in the snare line, and it was actually the section leader. Yeah, the section leader quit for whatever reason.
Was he already at Mac's house for like early?
Oh yeah,
he just like something pissed him off, and
No, I don't really know. I can't get into the details. I don't really know. I just know that something happened, and he just had to leave. And Josh Brickey was like, I know a guy, and they wanted to obviously bring in someone who just could hang.
Experience,
and I at least had experience at the time. So I came in and like I jumped right in. It was so awkward because I'll never forget the first experience. Like walk in there to Rio Grande, which is man, the school's like the building that we slept in is on top of this huge hill. So every day at the end you had to like walk up it. It was just miserable. But I walk up to the snare sectional. They're all on stands, so that's a good sign for me at the time because I'm used to the Rhythm X. The way back then. So they're on stands, and Tim Maynard was the snare tech. So, cadet, awesome dude. And it was 8 people. And I was like, so where do I go? I just kind of assumed I would go on the end. Like they would just close the whole, but they had moved Eric Shriver to center, and they put me in the center 3 of 9. So I like excuse myself in between like 2 people who've been there for like, Justin Lewis was one of them, and he had been there probably since the camps, and then Eric Shriver. So I was between Eric Shriver and Justin Lewis, and then
wait, like that Justin Lewis?
The Justin Lewis.
He started in 05?
Yes. Yeah, he was super young.
5, 6, 7, so I guess 4 years isn't that bad. I thought for whatever reason.
Yeah. He was great. He was super young, but he was talented. And then outside of Justin was Josh. So Josh was on my side, and then it was just funny because it was like awkward, kind of like, hey guys, I'll get on the end and just kind of hang on and try to figure out because exercises were so long, awesome, but just kind of like a lot to take in. So I was just like, it was kind of embarrassing at first because just the struggling of like breaking and like just trying to memorize all the exercises was kind of tough initially, just with all that amount of the volume of stuff I had to learn. Mm-hmm. So, but then after like a week, it was fine. So.
That's pretty sweet.
So that's kind of how I got there.
And unique story.
Yeah.